You're fine.
Oh.
No way.
Okay. Revised resolution adopting an application and inspection process with the associated fee schedules for fire life safety review will be on the agenda. Also, the fire code 2019, which you already went through on the second reading for the approval. We're working with San Luis Obispo County Hazardous Mitigation Plan to review all the potential hazards in our district, and we're sending the information to them to support the county master plan. So we're working with them just to identify what the hazards are, and then they're building the larger plan. We are currently reviewing the fire impact fees agreement with San Luis Obispo County, and we'll be bringing that agreement forward at the May meeting for approval. And that basically will have background on it and the history of our impact fees, and the county is glad that we contacted them because they're in the process of reviewing and going over theirs also. The fire department will be participating in the Camp Ours 10,000 acre range controlled burn at the end of May. So general information, we discussed the option to have a closed session. We're discussing options of having a closed session set for a second Thursday of each month, or a second meeting to give the board more time to discuss closed session items, and different options in that area. We've been having a lot of different dialogue, and 30 minutes is not necessarily working for us, and you guys deserve to have more time to review it. So if we can figure out something where we're not having our hands tied on a time constraint, I think we'll be more productive. Review and approve, amend a conflict of interest code to my parents, going through our codes and making updates, and that'll be presented for review. Just a closed session meeting for GSA meeting we set for May 22nd, the night before the May 23rd. It'll be a Wednesday night, 6 o'clock, and you anticipated that will be hour and a half, you said?
For which one?
The GSA meeting, May 22nd.
Yeah, hour and a half. Only needs a couple hours. For a closed session only GSA meeting.
So on May 2nd.
May 2nd, May 22nd, and May 23rd.
Okay.
Or no, sorry.
So,
The GSA stuff, he says is that important that we have to.
Okay.
if you have any questions.
Unless you want a Saturday.
That concludes my report.
Okay, you've been there, done that. Saturday.
Just another meeting.
Thank you for your report.
And what did you say? Did I hear you say Saturday?
No.
No Saturday.
Sorry, no Saturday.
She said unless you want a Saturday. That's why I was like, been there, done
Yeah.
that.
No Saturday. I told her don't say that word.
I won't do that again.
It's my only sanity there.
Do you have any public comment on the general manager's report? No. Any board comment? No. All right, moving on, district general counsel.
Nothing to report.
Nothing to report. District engineer, who is not present, do you have anything to report from the district engineer?
I don't have anything to report on his behalf, but if you have questions, I can either answer them or relay them to you.
Okay. What do we have his report for? Director of utilities.
You do have my report. I just have a couple of things to bring up. Next month, in May, you guys will receive, all of our customers will receive our consumer confidence report for the 2018 year. It's been approved by the state and will be going out with your water bills. So look forward to that. In general, as part of the wastewater treatment plant and the GSA and all the other things that are coming down through the state and going around everywhere, Dr. Reilly and I are investigating every possibility for the district to become either more sustainable or to look for ways to offset our electrical or heating costs through solar or geothermal or things of that nature.
Wind turbine.
Possibly,
Cogen,
maybe,
nuclear.
not really.
No.
Cheapest, most efficient.
I hear there's a plant down south.
Yeah, a
It's
little
gonna
bit
be
hard.
maybe for sale soon.
For sale.
So we are looking at all those options. If any of the directors or the public feel there's anything we should be looking at specifically, feel free to send us a message, or specifically me a message, and we will look into that if we aren't already.
Is this really to stem cost, or is it really from a sustainability? Or do we have some sort of sustainability guidelines or milestones that we have to meet for particular state or government agencies?
Not at this point, but there are things coming through that we probably, well, that actually probably wouldn't really apply to us, but they are just generally good practice that we would like to apply to both our plant and our other facilities. Some of them are sustainability projects to ensure our water into the future, and some of them are sustainability from an energy perspective to offset our enormous footprint that we already have.
And those would be outside of the new wastewater treatment plant upgrade.
They would be, some of these projects would be part of that upgrade potentially. Some of them would be aside from that at other facilities.
Okay.
At this point, because our options aren't really limited, other than financially, this is a wonderful time to be looking at everything we possibly can. A lot of things, especially energy related, can be modified and added on later, as long as they're planned for in the beginning. So that's the real driver, is to be able to plan for it now and be able to implement it either as grant funding is available or as other rate revenue is available to offset our other costs. On another note, we had, as I told you guys before, on the 31st of March, we had a trailer stolen from our treatment plant. We recovered the trailer, which I believe you're all told. There was no damage to it other than a broken tail light and a broken jack.
The equipment on the trailer was still intact.
Yeah. Yeah.
So basically, got taken for a joyride.
Well, he had apparently stopped at a couple other places along the way and picked up some other stuff. So,
Found something he liked better, huh?
what he, I think the problem was it was too heavy and he couldn't get it much farther.
Oh, I'll come back for this later.
Yeah. At any rate, we did recover our property. Our insurance had been advised and our claim was resolved. I was told either yesterday or the day before that the sheriff is aware of who did steal it and they're pursuing them as part of yet another case. So, but appreciate the work of the sheriff and the CHP Auto Theft Task Force for finding that for us and getting it back. Other than that, I don't have anything. If you have any questions, be happy to answer.
I got questions.
Oh,
Do you have any public comment on the Director of Utilities report? No. Do we have any board comment on the Director of Utilities report?
Yes, so what are we doing about the security status then at the sewer plant? I mean, was there a security camera there that caught the guy going and take this thing, or?
so we have security cameras there, and they did catch him going in and out.
Okay.
And we do have a building alarm there.
Mhm.
There was, after some intensive research on my part, there was actually a failure on our SCADA system, which would have alerted us to the building alarm. But there was a problem with the auto dialer, which calls out, and it was hanging up and it wouldn't call out. That's been resolved. I can't see that it's gonna happen again, but you never know. You know, electronics.
Was that a Tesco thing or a clear SCADA thing?
The auto dialer part is actually a separate
It's a
program.
microphone.
It's called Win 911.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a separate program. It's not part of our actual SCADA, which is probably part of the problem. It's a program within SCADA that
Is it controlled by the SCADA software, or is there a PLC hooked up to it? Is it?
It's part of our SCADA server, so the SCADA talks to it and tells it, hey, there's an alarm, and it's
Okay.
supposed to do the operation of the call.
Got it, okay.
It's been tested multiple times since then, and it's worked every time since then. Our cameras did catch him, and they did provide a adequate picture of him and him taking our equipment. But since then, we have had our fence fixed in several spots that were questionable from other attempts to get in, I guess. We are looking at different options for the security of the treatment plant, especially going into the future with, you know, millions more dollars at the treatment plant. So I don't know that any of that is gonna be put into effect before we start construction.
Can we maybe padlock hitches or remove hitches?
That's already
in the
been
meantime?
done.
Okay, good.
So that's, all the trailers are secure, so if you really wanna steal a trailer, you're gonna have to try
You
twice
gotta
as
bring
hard.
the torch in and cut the lock too.
Well, the guy brought a torch with him anyway, so there wasn't really
Exactly.
much stopping. But, so those things are being investigated, our security and our overall perimeter security is being investigated, it's gonna be upgraded. Definitely as part of the upgrade to the treatment plant. What we can do now that won't be destroyed by the treatment plant upgrade will be done now. A lot of this is gonna be fairly costly and it'll be better suited to put that money into putting it into the new treatment plant than to put it in and then take it back out and then put it back in. But
Well, our security cameras, you said they're adequate. Do they work decently at night as well, or are they not gonna, they're gonna catch some shadowy figure moving through the plant?
they are infrared and we do have security lighting that's on at night.
Okay.
So they
Yes,
actually.
it is.
It's on every night.
It's on every night. Sorry, we live across the street.
They ain't by night like that.
They don't need the night light. They have one.
Yeah.
Between the school and the
Half mile
wastewater
away.
plant, I'm pretty covered.
So between the security lights and the cameras, which are also infrared, they do actually work pretty well at night.
Okay.
You're not gonna, at night, it's a black and white picture, so you're not gonna be able to get as much detail as during the day, but you can definitely tell, you know, height, build, what somebody's driving, timestamps. You can narrow the window down a lot more and you can get a lot of information.
The other thing, you said you're gonna be pursuing, opportunities to make the plant more, what was the word? Sustainable, yes. Will any of those, opportunities help us lower our APCD dues?
Well, one of the things we're looking at is generators with, that are natural gas generators. That type of thing is gonna have a higher initial cost, but have a lower operational cost. There is no permit from APCD for a natural gas generator,
Okay.
so that's almost $700 a year right there, but
Right.
our permit through APCD is based on the type of plant, it's not based on what you really do.
Okay.
So our permit costs from APCD, aside from the generator, right now are roughly $18,000. I would estimate that those permit fees are probably gonna be in the neighborhood of $28,000 to $30,000 once the plant's done. I'm sure that if we're doing some things to mitigate our impact on the environment, the APCD will look on that kindly, but they do have, you know, a laundry list of things that they charge you for, and they do like their money.
Yes, they do, and they also like the regulations, and we don't have any representation on that board, and I mean, just.
Well, we don't have a representative from the district on their board, but the APCD office that serves San Miguel has always been very kind to San Miguel. They work with us quite well, both as from the fire department standpoint and from the utility standpoint. And we've never had a problem with their personnel. They,
Not too punitive.
well, we've never had a violation from them, but they do work with us in cases of people doing illegal burning.
Right.
In operations at the treatment plant, they're very easy to work with. I have no problem with them.
Gallo. Yeah.
Other than the cost of their permitting, you know, I don't really have a problem with APCD in general.
Okay. But can we look into possibly ways on how to, if there's any way we don't have to pay the $28,000 in fees every year? I mean, that's almost like a minimum wage grunt worker digging a ditch now.
Well, we pay
That's
$2,000.
an annual fee?
Yeah, we pay almost $2,000 to $3,000. I don't know the exact number, but about $2,000 to $3,000 for an APC permit for our collection system. So, and there's no above ground anything for that. So we're pursuing whatever we can to minimize our operational costs, you know, from year to year. But it has to make sense in an initial cost. We can't add an extra $5 billion or $5 million just because it's gonna save us $10,000 a year. But that said, we are working with the the Regional Water Quality Control Board. We will be working with APCD, we'll be working with the county to minimize our overall costs to build this plant and our overall costs to operate the plant.
Okay.
And if there's something that we can do that is within our budget to do, then we will.
And then can I throw one more thing on there, because I know it's been mentioned years ago. Are we ever gonna look at switching over our downtown streetlights to LEDs?
We
I just
are.
wanna, okay, like, in the next couple of months, years, just out of curiosity. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, 'cause I know you're a busy man with so many projects this time.
That's all this is.
I know.
Yeah, it is, from the lighting standpoint, that is the primary project, is to change over the streetlights on Mission Street. They kind of have the mind of their own anyway, some of them staying on all day and some of them not coming on at all.
Right.
But when you go to fix them, they're fine, so. But, that is the project for this coming year,
Okay.
is to finally get this replaced. Lighting does have the funding to do that, and that will be identified in the budget for the
Okay.
next year.
Are there any programs or grants or supplements available to offset the cost of replacing those with LED?
Not that I'm aware of right now, but our PG&E representative would be the one to discuss those with, and the last time I talked to her about them, there wasn't anything available. Now that PG is in bankruptcy, it's less likely that there is something available. But I will talk to her again. The original estimate that we had was around $24,000 to replace all of them. There's 24 of them. PG&E did replace at their cost all of the other streetlights around town, except for the ones in Jazzytown for some reason, to LED. And I'm working with our representative to change those ones. It's just a long, drawn-out process. So we're trying to get all of them switched over to LED, which is about $6 a month cheaper per light for us than the other metal halide or
Right.
sodium vapor.
And then that project near my residence, I know they're supposed to be putting the decorative streetlights where that happens. Those are gonna be LED when they're.
Those are supposed to be LED also.
Okay.
I have not seen them yet.
I haven't seen them either. I've seen nothing.
I'm surprised somebody hasn't tripped over the bolts sticking out of the ground, but they have not brought anything to us